Hello and welcome to the Dare to Be Artsy YouTube channel. It's Michelle Houghton here and I've got a whole lot of stuff going on. I've got some stamps from Dare to Be Artsy. I've got two sets. I've got one of the poinsettia sets and then I've also got a foxy set. I'm using a sentiment from one and then the fox and squirrel from another. I'm also using some die cuts from Dare to Be Artsy, and then I've got this fun fold card from Paper Cuts. About 2 weeks ago, the two companies combined for a blog hop, and life overwhelmed my family here this last couple months, and so I am playing a little catch up, and I told everybody that I would have a card to share just a little bit later. So I have used a bunch of products from Dare to Be Artsy. The first thing you're going to see is I did use some of the smaller stamps and some inks from Dare to Be Artsy to kind of do the end boxes that's going to go inside this card. Now I'm going to speed up because this whole process is going to take a little while. So then I've got these two die cuts. They're actually from two different sets of die cuts, two of the poinsettia sets. One is just the holly leaves and one is the poinsettia. And then I am gluing those down. The papers are also Dare to Be Artsy papers. They have beautiful Christmas papers. And I've got these two adorable images that I stamped. So I've got these fun, really simple images that I stamped with the Dare to Be Artsy ink and the sentiment from the one set. And then I've got these two little images from the fox set of images from Dare to Be Artsy. So I'm starting with an E50. All of this is Copic coloring. If you've ever got questions about Copics, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments and I will make sure to answer. E53 is next, and I'm just adding some tiny bit of texture and a little bit of shape, but not a whole lot. These are tiny images, so they don't need a whole lot. I'm going in with an E55, and that's going to add just a little more depth into this image. I'm softening it a touch with the E53. I felt like it needed along the face, not on the tail, because I wanted to see that little bit of fur texture. And then I'm going to color in the fox, and I want him that really rich red kind of foxy color. So I'm going to use a different set of E's for that. E04, and when I start with this color, it's always a very unique color. I would call it like a dusty rose. I believe on the marker lid it says it's like natural lip color. It's kind of this off kind of pinky earth tone, which I love to use for a lot of different occasions. The interesting part is the series it is in, it doesn't look like it fits. So I'm going to base this guy out in that color, but then the E07 is what's going to come next. Now this goes into that kind of brick red color that I really like for the fox. And again, I'm really just adding some shape and dimension. I'm adding a little bit of texture, in particular out on that tail, because our artist has shown us there's some texture and we can see that fluffy tail by the little crosshatch marks. So a little bit of shape on the face, kind of narrowing down that nose and rounding out the head a little bit. Because remember, our heads are kind of like balls right at the base of the ears. I'm going to come in with an E09 and just reinforce that. And I apologize, the lighting's a little dim. It's getting dark here in Iowa because it's winter. And so I haven't broken out all of my lighting set yet. And so it's the lighting. I'm fighting with that a little bit on the videos these days. But E09 is going to push back so we can really see that separation between the tail and the body. I'm softening it up just a little bit with the E04. It also darkens that down. So notice I skipped the E07 completely. These colors are really happy blenders in that they really blend very easily together. And I avoided the tail again because I wanted to see those little flicks that I added that emphasize those little crosshatch marks. I used an E35 just on the stripe of the tail. I probably could have left that white, but I decided just to go with a completely separate color. Now in the squirrel, I'm going to go in opposite. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to start with my darkest color. So I'm starting with E35 and I'm not filling him in. I'm hitting where I think the darkest areas on the squirrel are going to be. Tiny little animal. So I'm really not going to be able to add a whole lot of shape and form, but you can kind of see the general shapes. or general feel of what I'm going for, kind of that roundness on the tail, on the body, on the head. So I'm kind of compartmentalizing him. The last color is going to be an E31, and that's going to hit those highlight areas, and it's going to soften. Now, because I've worked from dark to light, sometimes this means I don't have to go back with any of my colors. I've got the shape I want, and as I went along, the blending happened as I colored. So sometimes I come back with my darkest to re-emphasize those deepest shadows, but a lot of times I don't have to do a lot of blending once I've done that from dark to light. So I've got a little squirrel, and I just add a touch of color on top of the acorn to make it look a little more brown versus black or gray. And I'm going to glue these guys in. Now this little piece, this little accordion piece, came to me this way. So I think the way it works is you will get a cut file, and you would have this format to create this little accordion, and I've cut out little squares that go in there. So I cut the little squares that go in, but the accordion was part of the cut file for the card. So there's one piece of my card done. I have the front, which I added the season greetings, and I added the poinsettia, and then I've got this internal part, and I've got some directions. Now you're going to watch me do my classic card routine where I put something together and then have to pull it apart, because I just can't figure it out, and I don't take the time to really figure it out. So I kind of put my glue where it told me to put my glue, and then I think I've got this kind of folded in the right direction. But as I try to open it up, you're going to notice it does not work at all. So I did not glue it correctly. Part of the reason I did the liquid adhesive was because I knew it was going to need to, I was most likely going to have this happen where I was going to put it together incorrectly. So I try it again, open it up, figure out which way these are going to go, add a little more glue so it's re-wet, and then I'm going to carefully this time kind of refold, and then now I can press it in there and make sure I've got it all attached. The other good part about glue is even though I can do a little moving, this particular glue actually dries fairly quickly. It's a craft glue made to do this stuff, and so it does dry fairly quickly, and those are adhered pretty quickly, and I'm not having things wiggle around on me. So then I also have the card front, and I can glue this piece inside. So I was a little more careful. I did slow down a little bit, you'll be glad to hear. So this goes a little more smoothly, a little. This is typical with me putting cards together. That's why I don't show you me putting cards together very often. So I've got this guy glued down, and now it opens up beautifully and has this wonderful pop-up effect. I've never done anything like this, and the cut file and the card made it so easy to do. So I've got this beautiful ornate card that it looks like I was super creative and crafty on, and I did my normal kind of cut and paste and color and came out with this beautiful thing with someone else doing the hard work of figuring out how to make that work. So thank you very much, Paper Cuts. Greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, Dare to Be Artsy, for the wonderful inspiration as well. Stop by my blog when you have a chance at scrapweaver.com, learning more about Copic live and online opportunities. Thank you very much. From all of us at Dare to Be Artsy, this week we dare you to be artsy.